This is the whole thing, right? Like my when you guys were little, and I was going through the divorce with your dad and stuff, there was an option put in front of me. You can fight for your kids from Boston, but you don't have to stay in Florida by yourself.
Yeah.
I chose to stay in Florida by myself and deal with whatever that looked like as long as I was fighting for you guys. The reason why is because I knew, at least I knew some stuff. I knew my dad's background was of addiction and streets and all that stuff. And then I knew the side on your dad's side, all what that would probably entail or would be some of the stuff that I had seen. I didn't want you guys to repeat because I knew that you guys were going to be like exposed to it.
Yeah.
And so if you're exposed to it, then that means you might get influenced by it. And so I made a vow when you guys were little that I said, regardless of what it cost me, I wanted to show you guys that there was a different way to live life. You know what I'm saying? That you guys could be men of God, that you guys could be a different type of man than the man that my dad was when he was younger and the stuff that you were being exposed to. So in that though, you become as a parent that you want to guard your children of certain things, but sometimes as parents we can't give our children things we have not even worked through or even been exposed to, or if you've been exposed to, because you're so locked in who you are at that moment and have not healed from it and stuff like that, that you're not able to see certain things. And I think that's where my heart posture has changed in the last year and a half to two, is that when I started writing like my book and stuff like that, and I was writing it, I really was an imposter within my own life. Like I thought I was living a life, but now that I sit back and think about it, I was always hovering over my life. And a lot of shots that uh, a lot of decisions that I made or shots that I took in life were based off of survival mode and trying to figure out what was the best thing. But in a lot of ways, I never asked God what was the best thing. It's only sometimes when I was like in dire need that I would call out his name. And so, in the process of doing that, all three of my kids have had different walks with the Lord or getting to where they need to get to. But I've always been praying for God to cover you guys, for God to protect you, that God will give you wisdom, that He will show you stuff. And even though as crazy and as toxic and everything was in that relationship, that was the relationship that catapulted you to have a relationship with the Lord. Because if it wasn't for that relationship, you would have not gone into your closet and had those conversations. Because I know throughout life, you've had plenty of times where you've called out Jesus' name and prayed for a prayer, stuff like
Yeah.
that. But it wasn't that intense, the situation,
No.
that it was a dire need
Yeah.
to have him in your life and do something. It wasn't, I remember one time I was talking to you and I was like, honey, you have to pray. You have to pray. And you're like, I be going outside. I be at my bush just praying and just crying to the Lord and just yelling at the skies like, God, please lead me. Please show me.
Yep.
Please, all these things. And in the prayer of that, it was like, God, please just show him the way, show him the way. But God used that situation, that dire situation, to show up. Like you allowed him to show up in that raw form for you and be like, I'm open to listen to you, regardless of my pre-notion of what you're supposed to
Yeah.
be, like regardless of what I think you should show up as. I just need you. And by you doing that, that's the outcome. So even though I understand the hurt and the pain that you went through,
Mm-hmm.
it came out on the other side with a couple of things. That one, there was transformation between your mindset and your heart posture when it came to certain relationships, right? Outside of that one, as well as your relationship with the Lord, it just catapults you to be like, you open that door,
Yeah.
right? God was always waiting, But that day you just wide open. It's like you need to just come in because this is chaotic. I can't do this without you. And sometimes we got to get to that point in our life where we have given up on everything, including ourselves, to say, God, you have to take the help of this. You have to be the leader in this in my life. Because without it, I don't think I would be able to live. And I think that that's also been where I've been, in the last 6 years when I was like, God, I know that I can't do this without you. Um, I've always had you in the sidelines. I need you to lead my life. And so I think that in that, I get very emotional because is one of the things that I always tell parents is like, we think we know, but we know nothing. Because it's the same thing with me. Like, who I am now is nothing compared to what my mom and my dad experienced me as their child. Mm-hmm. If I were to sit with them and tell them everything that I was and who I was and how I thought, they would have been like, "What?" Like the way my brain was working, they'd be like, "That's a totally different person than who you presented to me." I did that for a lot of years, right? And so when you started saying that, in my mind, it, like I said, it broke my heart because I was like, wow, I thought I was doing a better job of allowing a space. But then I had to also understand that there was some cracks along the way that just left it open for the enemy to plant thoughts and feelings and stuff in your head. And you were good at able to be like, yeah, everything is good. You know what I'm saying? And in moments that I'm not praying, I'm not discerning the stuff that I'm supposed to discern. Right. And so that's why I say it's amazing for us to pray for our children, cover our children and stuff like that. But also ask God to reveal stuff to you so you can have those conversations with your kids. But if your kid feels like they're going to be judged or they're not going to fall into the category that we want them to fall into, it's going to take a long time, right? And you would say certain things to me. I'm like, but honey, why would you even think that? Like, we love you any kind of way, but it just would not resonate. It was not connecting. With you at times when I would be like, oh, let's do, I don't know. And I was like, I just don't know if people are going to receive me. I'm like, where the heck is that coming from? Like, we're one of the most accepting group of people that you could ever meet. You know what I'm saying? I used to tell him this about our family and stuff like that. And it was so strange to me. And I was like, where did I go wrong? Not showing him that we're accepting it. But then I realized when him and I started having conversations and it's just allowing your child just to say what they need to say without a major reaction. I was a very reactionable parent. You guys would say stuff to me, and I would have either something to say about it, have an attitude about it, or tell you how to fix it, or what the case may be. And over the years, I'm not saying that I'm perfect at it, but what I'm working towards is to be able for you to say something and for me to just sit back and let you continue to say what you need to say. Yeah. I think it's shown in the last few months, and you and I were talking about it, that I feel myself change. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Even in this conversation right now, I feel chill. And I'm usually not chill on these pods.
It's definitely tough. And it's something I practice a lot because I try to, and I'm not in any perfect either. And thankfully that's not the goal, but just validating any relationship, family, friend, or romantic, is not anywhere close to being easy. Because like you can say the right words, but it's hard to kind of take yourself out of the situation, especially if it's feedback about yourself. Like, it's hard to take yourself out of the situation and like hear the other person and try to like ask the questions that make them feel heard. Like, and then also if it's a friend and they're going through something chaotic, and like I do believe in venting and like people just um like expressing how they feel and everything about it, but sometimes it becomes an egotistical thing. Like on my end, for example, I'm just like, oh, like, and this is like guy thoughts. I'm just like, oh, cool, you just fix the situation and you're all good. But sometimes people just want to talk. Yeah, I've definitely had this conversation several times with a dear friend of mine's, where I'm just like I can fix it, just like let me out.
That was my mentality.
Yeah,
always.
and I know that's not always right. Like sometimes you just gotta. I know there's some versions where you can just like kind of hear them. There's some where like if you, especially if you're getting feedback, there's ways to apologize and kind of like let them see how you could do better. There's also in an educational way, which I've been practicing, is just like first off my tone, how I'm receiving the information, and then also kind of leading someone to like a more better answer that they want to do, like asking them how they want to handle it and like what do they think, and just helping them go through the scenario, which has definitely helped.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's any specific right way to go about it, but I do think that I definitely noticed an improvement in the way we talk.
Yeah.
And just I do feel heard and stuff, which is definitely makes me feel safer to have these conversations for sure.
No, I'm happy about that.
Yeah.